Hey friends, today I'm giving you an update on everything that I've been knitting, watching, and reading. So grab a cup of something and let's dive in. Welcome back, friends. If you are new here, my name is Melissa. I'm the dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Company. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. So it's been about, I think, a week since I've updated you on everything that I've been working on, and there's been some shifts in my knitting. So what I thought we'd do is talk about what have I been working on. I don't have any completed finished objects. I have some partial finished objects. So last time I shared with you that I had dyed up a special sock set for the book Main Characters. And I had started the sock and I was about here. I'd only knit on it the night before as part of just meditative knit to kind of clear my head as a teacher and with the school year coming to a close. So I'm happy to say I did finish that first sock. So for those of you who don't know, I knit on a US 1, which is a 2.2 millimeter needle. I do use 9-inch circulars until I get down to the toe, and then I switch to magic loop. I do a 2x2 ribbing. I traditionally cast on 64 stitches. I knit for an inch, and then I knit down until from cuff to where I want to start my heel is 7 inches. Then I do a slip stitch heel, turn my heel, and then I wear a size 7.5. So I knit until from the base of my heel turn to where I want to start my toes is 7.25 inches, and then I usually switch to a contrasting color. So the first sock is done. And surprisingly, I am on my magic loop. I am on the toe of my second sock. So as you can guess, I have been really working on my socks. So I'm going to guess in the next week, if not in the next night or two, I could probably have this done. I have to say, between the heel and the toe, they're my least favorite parts of the sock. I really, as many of you know, like to go round and round. So obviously the leg and the foot are my favorite parts to knit. I know some people knit in a tube because they feel the same way I do, and then they do a forethought or an afterthought heel. Those heels don't particularly fit me well. I use a more traditional heel flap and gusset is what fits my foot the best, which is why I traditionally do these. I do have some socks where I've done a forethought heel, and I do wear them, but again, they just don't fit my foot the best. So I am counting this as a half finish object. I have to say that I did lie. I did finish something. I started a hipster hat. This is a pattern by Petite Knits. And this is knit on a US 4. It's really just a 2x2 ribbing. And then, there's a special sequence for your decreases. This is a new colorway that I have coming out this weekend. This is dyed for the new puppy that is coming into our household. So for those of you who don't follow me on social media, I currently have 3 Boston Terriers. For the most part, I've always had 3 or 4 of them. And my foster passed away back in March, and ever since, my husband has been consistently asking for a puppy. So I've finally given in, and we are bringing a puppy into our home later this evening. That's why I still have slightly wet hair, because I do have a busy day of picking up a puppy, picking up my husband from the airport, running around, running some last minute errands. But this new colorway is for this brand new puppy that by the time you see this will be in our household. I will try and share a picture of her here because by the time I edit all of this, she will be here. I'm naming her Paisley. And so this colorway is called Paisley Pearl. All of my dogs have colorways named after them, and this one is no different. So I finished this hipster hat. I don't particularly like doing ribbing, but all of my dogs' colorways, I have samples done in this hipster hat. So I just followed suit with this one. This is a really nice like lavender color with specks of green and blue and darker purple and some pinks. And there's a little bit of like, sort of like a goldenrod color in there. So I'm waiting on a pom-pom to come in the mail because I'll top it with a fluffy snap-on pom-pom. I love this color. My favorite color is purple, but you wouldn't know that if you looked on my yarn truck. I don't have a ton of purples. I have colorways that have a lot of pink or purple in them, but not a ton of purples unless we're talking about really rich, like royal purples. I have a few of those. So I'm excited to add another speckly purple to the lineup, and it will go beautifully with all the other colors named after the pups. And so I had a hat, so why not start a pair of socks too? So I did start a sock in the Paisley Pearl colorway. You can see that, again, the blues and the greens and the pinks and those more goldenrod colorways. I've made it through the whole entire leg. I've done my heel flap and gusset. I am now to the point I've decreased all my gusset stitches. I'm in the round and round part. So this will be a really good knit to have on hand this weekend if I don't finish it before then. Obviously, I'll need to, well, not obviously, but I'll probably finish the toe on this because I can't, eventually I'll need to switch to that needle in order to do the decreases. Now, not to say that I don't have another set of tiny magic loops. I do use the 2.25 US 1 interchangeable needle tips from Gu, but I use their micro cords. I just find it a lot easier for that to glide over the ends to make that slipping back and forth transition a lot easier. And again, I do have more of these, but I don't feel like going and pulling out another one and then having two socks that are sitting at the toes. It will help force me to finish this one so that I can then finish this one and then immediately cast on the second one for this sock. And that's pretty much all I've been knitting on for the last week is socks and a hat. So I've done a tremendous amount of knitting, just not on the bigger projects that I have going. As most of you know, as you saw in the last couple episodes, I've been working on my Astro Pop tee, and I finished another skein for the body, so I have wound the next skein for my Astro Pop, and I will do the sleeves. I will finish off my sleeves and then return to the body and knit it to the length that I want, and of course close out the ribbing, and that will be done. So depending upon how much time I find myself having over the course of the next week or two, that has the potential to get done too. I've also been working on I haven't touched my Magnaflora. I lie. I have not been working on it. I have not touched it. So that's really close to being finished because, again, I finished the sleeves. I just need to finish the body. So with a new puppy coming into the house, she's only 8.5 weeks old. So there is the potential over this first week while she gets adjusted to being in the house, adjusting to having a pack of dogs, pre-training, all of that good stuff. I won't have as much knitting time because, as anyone who's had a puppy knows, they are a lot of work. I am finished working for the most part. My students finished last Friday. Technically, I work through the end of this week, but I took the rest of the week off, like I usually do. And so I will have tons of more time. I will have tons more time that I've already designated. Some of that time I need to dye advents, continue to fill up the yarn truck. So I have plenty to keep me busy this summer, including this puppy, but I'm not sure how much knitting time. For the first week or two while a puppy adjusts, I think I'll have a fair amount of time because puppies do sleep a lot. So I will have time to probably do things like finish socks or whatever. But if you've ever had a puppy, you know that we don't get a lot of sleep. Well, little puppies you don't, because they do still get up a few times during the night until they're about 12 weeks old. And then by then they're pretty much sleeping through the night. So I obviously have to knit when you bring a new puppy home. That's the only way to kind of train them and get them used to threads of yarn. I'm sure it's the same way with kittens. Life has to go on and she will have to learn the routine in the house. And part of that routine in this house is a lot of knitting. So she will get acclimated to what she can and can't do with the yarn. So it's not like I'll be putting it away for an indefinite amount of time. But I could see myself for the first couple of days just kind of setting it aside and not having it in my hands quite as much. But we'll see. And that pretty much is everything that I've been knitting. This past weekend here, it was just really gloomy and not pleasant. Like, even outside, even with an overcast day, I love an overcast day, particularly if it's nice and cool, and you have nice weather. Even with the threat of rain, I am okay with that as long as it's cool, because I can go out into the dye studio, and which is outside. It's an outdoor, like, garage style shed. And no, I mean, I did go out this weekend and dye up plenty of this to have on the website, but it was raining. Like, I went out there and it was kind of overcast and things were fine. And then right as I needed to, like, fill up buckets of water and everything, it started kind of pouring. And I ran from there over to where the spigot is on the house, because there's enough of an overhang that I could fill up all the buckets and stay relatively dry while it rained. But I was dyeing while it was raining, which kind of worked out in my favor, because then it did cool off a little bit, but for the most part, it's just a humid Maryland summer day, which I don't like Maryland in the summertime. I love Maryland any other time of the year but summer. I live in a beach town, so it becomes tourist season, which is great for our economy down here, but not so great for trying to get around, and things just being more crowded. It also makes it a little more challenging to find parking to, say, like, go down and walk the dogs on the boardwalk in the late evening when things do cool off, because that's the only time in the summer when I'll walk them is usually when the sun is going down. So essentially, I spent a lot of time inside. Other than going out and dyeing yarn and then going back out later to rinse it and hang it up to dry, I spent the weekend inside. Was I productive inside? A little bit. But for the most part, I just sat and vegetated on Sunday. Last Sunday, I saw that the new season of Ginny and Georgia was on Netflix, and I have been waiting for that new season 3, to premiere, and Netflix gives us all the episodes at once. So I did make my way through that entire season. I think I started at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I didn't finish till like 10 o'clock at night. So it wasn't like I was just sitting there for 10 hours watching television. I did break things up periodically to, pick something to eat, take the dogs out, that kind of thing. But if you've never seen Ginny and Georgia, it is quite humorous. If you like good-hearted people doing bad things, but bad things for good reasons, I guess, for family, then you would probably enjoy it. As for shop news, by the time you are seeing this, I will be getting ready or I will be at Fabiola Wine Cellars in Leesburg, Virginia for Public Knittoxication. This is hosted by the Fibrous. It is a one-day event, and it's from 12 to 4. It's free. There is wine tasting, there are food trucks, even the winery has food selections like charcuterie boards, and it is I have always said this is a fabulous event. I love it for the simple fact that though there are a smattering of vendors, I want to say there's maybe like 10 or 12 of us, it is a great time to come out to the winery. Where we are set up, there are just these massive trees, so there's plenty of shade. Bring your friends, bring, chairs to sit in, and make a day of it with your friends. It is just a really low-key event. The weather is usually pretty nice. We did have one year where it was sweltering in the sun, like where I was on the patio, but in the shade, it was my understanding that it was still perfectly comfortable. But it's a really great event. I will be bringing all my 50/50 cotton wool DK. So if you're shopping for colors to make that Astro Pop tee in July with the Marie Green's 4-day knit along, I'll have that there. I also have space to bring my 50/50 wool fingering and my willow fingering, which is a linen wool blend, and the fingering blends you could hold double for that Astro Pop tee, and I think it would make an amazing version. Now for books. So I recently finished 7-Year Itch by Amy Dawes. This is the second book in the Mountain Men series, and in this one we're following another brother. I won't go into too many details because it'll be on my Goodreads, and I think it was in last week's Tuesday tidbit if you're on my newsletter list. But this book comes out on June 17th, and so it's a really great second book in the series. Though I think you could read it as just a companion novel and not have read the first one. I do think there are spoilers for the first one in the second book, so it does make sense to read them in sequential order. For audiobooks, when I was in the garage dyeing, and while I've been kind of like doing that, I guess most people call it spring cleaning, but I kind of do it right before summer too. I started an audiobook called Bad Summer People by Emma Rosenblum. And if you like rich people behaving badly, this is like a really good sort of like mystery thriller. It really kept my attention. There were some lulls in it, but I'm here for a good thriller. And this one wasn't thriller like um, you don't know what's going to happen. This was one of those sort of domestic thrillers. Again, rich people behaving badly. So you know what happened. You just don't know how it happened or who did it. So I would really recommend that if you like those kinds of books. Right now, I have started an advanced reader's copy of Don't Open Your Eyes by Liv Constantine. This author duo, I believe they are sisters. Next week, I am going to see them speak for the debut of their novel. My sister and I are going. We really enjoy their their backlist of books. And this book is about Annabelle, and Annabelle is having these really crazy dreams, but what she discovers is some of what she's dreaming about starts happening in real life, sort of more like premonitions. So as they get increasingly more frequent, um, that's what this book is about. I'm about halfway through it, I think. It's been a really gripping novel. Again, kind of thrillery because some of the things that are happening are rather unsettling. And then the audiobook that I'm currently listening to is A Tempest for Tea by Hafsa Fazal. And this is an interesting one. This is about we're following a gal who owns a tea house, and late into the evenings in her tea house, she kind of like after it closes, like after hours, she caters to the vampire community. And then something is impacting her business, and she's going in search of who's responsible. And of course, she's having to team up with vampires. So it's kind of a quirkier read, and it takes place, it feels like not in modern times, but a little farther back. I want to say during Prohibition, but I know that's not right, but that's what the story feels like. So I'm only about 30% into that one. So on my drive to go pick up a puppy and then on my way to the airport, I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish this one and have a better sense of where the story's going and, of course, how it ends. And that's everything that I've been up to in the last week. Obviously, I got a lot of knitting done, which I'm quite pleased. And the beauty of knitting small things is there's some instant gratification. Well, not quite instant. I guess a hat is kind of instant gratification. Socks, maybe not so much, but definitely more of a palette. The hat was definitely a bit of a palette cleanser because, again, it only takes a couple days to get through it and then you're done. So I'm hoping, again, that I'll have plenty of time to finish a couple pairs of socks. And then I've already started thinking about kind of like what my summer knitting plans might be. I would love if you have something to recommend that I should watch. I would love for you to let me know down in the comments, like, what are you binging? What are you watching? A lot of the shows that I've been watching recently, I finished. Like I watched Sirens on Netflix because my husband watched it and he was like, "Oh my gosh, you'll love this." Um, I finished Mobland on Paramount. That was really good. And I watched Ginny and Georgia. I think there's a movie called Straw that a lot of people are watching, so I'll probably look into that and see what that's about. But if there's anything else, and it doesn't have to be on Netflix, like I have Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Prime, Apple. So whatever you're watching, I'd love for you to share down below. As I start pondering what my summer knitting plans are going to be now that school's out, I would love to hear what you're knitting on as well. So that's all I got for you today. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like more content that is knitting and book related, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'd love for you to join us over here. And until next time, friends, happy knitting, happy reading. I'll see you next week.
Always think of you when spring comes, like it's something in the air at that time. Don't